What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that movement, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 500,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Broadcasting on April 25th here out of Toronto, where it's like, as my dad would say, a day of night out there. It's been cold, damp, and drizzly. I wouldn't say cold. It's about 40 degrees Fahrenheit outside, but it's been raining most of the day. And it's like, you're going outside, it's like a cold shower, which I'm not a fan of taking cold showers at all. But hey, we are going on and going strong. And if you don't know, it's time for Prime Time Saturday with Aisha Casey-Aggerts and Laura Lalaki. Lala is not with us today, but Aisha is with us. And we are supposed to have scheduled one Dr. Tachi joining us momentarily. So what is up, Aisha K? What's going on in your world?
I went to see the Michael movie today.
I was going to ask you about that because it was the anniversary of Prince's unaliving this week. So how was the movie?
I went to see the Michael Jackson movie in my Michael Jackson t-shirt with in my Prince car with my Paisley Park and Prince stickers on the back.
Okay.
With my phone that plays When Doves Cry with the So I was hoping I didn't remember to turn my phone off, but yes, it was good. I don't care about anybody's comments. Yeah, don't tell me, tell your mama. There will be no hateration or holleration in this dancery. It was good. I enjoyed it. It did what a movie was supposed to do. Let's be very clear first. I did not need 45 minutes of really bad previews for movies that what I realized is that they just let any old movies get made, and they do not let our movies get made, which are usually really good. So they just don't let. Yeah, okay. So, you could tell the movies that they want people to see and the faith that they don't put behind them, because they put them before the movies that they know are going to do numbers, right?
Got it.
And so there was that, but the movie was done really well. I was very impressed with his nephew and his nephew's ability and the way that he transformed himself into his uncle. You forget that you're watching the nephew. Even just the mannerisms, the sound of the voice, the movements. It takes place from 66 to 88.
Okay.
So the critics, like, what are you complaining about? It takes place in a certain time period, right? It wasn't too long. You would like another part, but yeah, it was just long enough. I enjoyed it. All the acting was great. And yeah, I had a good time with my daughter. We went to the 9:45 a.m. And my daughter was dressed as Michael during Dirty Diana.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she was. I knew she was going there.
Oh boy. So on a scale,
the boots and all of the buckles, the gloves, the white shirt.
Were other people in that paraphernalia also?
There was a guy that when we got there, he had the Motown 25 Billie Jean outfit on, the jacket. And we pulled up, we actually parked right in front of him. He was with his grandmother, and we sat in a row. Now, it was funny because there weren't a lot of people when we went, because it was 9:45 show, but the row that we sat in was where all the people sat. And it was such a good time because
Good.
everybody was singing and enjoying the music. And it was a really good time. And it reminded me that 10 years ago, this year, I wrote one of the first articles I wrote on the HuffPost Writers Exchange was Dear Hollywood, Michael Jackson was Black and Proud, because that was when they were considering doing a Michael Jackson biopic and casting a white actor. Okay. And I ran through all of the instances throughout Michael's life where he actually did a lot of work for Black people, and particularly his donations to HBCUs that people didn't know. And he actually had an honorary doctorate from my alma mater, Fisk University.
Nice. I am just seeing if Dr. Tachi is ready to come on. I just need to get a thumbs up from her, and we will get. Okay, she's up because I put it in the chat. Okay, so joining us, I think Tachi of IndieSoup TV. Unmute yourself, and we can bring you on.
There you go. Can you hear me?
Go. We can hear you loud and clear, and as usual, the fedora is fantastico on you.
Thank you.
Nice. It's fedora-ing.
Have you been seen? First of all, how are you doing? Most importantly.
Oh, I'm fantastic.
Good. Have you gone to see the Michael Jackson movie yet?
No, I will see it on Tuesday. So if you don't know, Delta Sigma Theta has a National Arts and Letters Committee and initiative where we try to support things that are Black. And so one of our initiatives is to see this Michael Jackson movie. And so we've rented out a theater and we're doing that Tuesday evening, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, rented out the theater.
The tickets and we're all good. Yeah. We always do that. We did that for Black Panther. We did usually any major Black movie that comes out. We will do different chapters. We'll do that. So my chapter is rented out a theater, and we're doing that. So I will see it next week.
Okay.
I'm gonna go see it again.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, so 2 times. Okay. All right. So Aisha, what's a win you've had lately other than going to see the Michael Jackson movie?
My mom is making it to 75.
Whoa.
She's pretty young.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So you're going to be celebrating with her next weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you pulled off well, that'll be good. And before we went live, you pulled off a surprise on her, right?
Well, it wasn't a surprise, but my mom and her girlfriend, they got to go to Atlantic City. So got to help them. So So
Dr. Tachi,
that's been this past week. Yeah.
Dr. Tachi, what's a win you've had lately you'd like to share with us?
Oh, it's a win for me. I found a new microphone. Now, I love the microphone that I have, but I found, and usually this brand is not on my radar for microphones, but Carlos Phoenix had this, and I said, if Carlos has it, it has to be good.
Yeah.
So this is if you could see the lapel.
Yes.
It's wireless and it's from Boya. Now, this is the charging case, but it is also a microphone itself. So it comes with 2 lapel mics, and this turns into a handheld microphone. It comes with a stand if you want to put that on. And if you hear me, I tested it this morning and I'm like, this sounds really good. And so as you can see, this is the case and it has the other one in it. So that's a win.
So is it Bluetooth then?
Yeah, it's Bluetooth.
Very nice.
So it's wireless. Nice. I'm hands-free. I decided that I would check this out today on the show. And so as long as you guys say I sound good, I'm good.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds very good. Wireless. All right. Carlos, I agree. If Carlos Phoenix is using it, then that's enough. That's enough. That's a check. That's a check for me.
Because
Look,
this will be good for when I'm doing things in the field.
Yes.
That will be good for me. So yeah.
Excellent. Jen Meyer says, hello, everyone. Good to see you, Jen. You also says, Dr. Tachi. Dr. Tachi. There we go. We're not going to talk about it in depth today. So before we go on break, anything we want to say about what's going over on the other side of the world with that war
No,
thing?
we'll hear about it this week, I'm sure. You know, Mr. Diarrhea of the Mouth won't stop talking about it.
Well, the peace talks, the peace talks are off again now because I think Iran sent their representative home, and so they're not happening again. So
they said they weren't going.
Well, that's right. That's right. That's right.
How do you have peace talks from one half because they're not going?
Dr. Tachi?
How do you take them seriously when this is not an administration that values peace? I'm not trying to say that the other side is, Mother Teresa. I'm not. But it's clear that they instigated it. They don't value peace. Why would anybody believe anything they say? They've set themselves up not to be believed at this point. So peace talks, yeah, okay. It's really going to be a bully session, if you ask me. So, yeah.
I heard a report this week. Caroline Levitt, whatever you think about her, we did mention she's going on maternity leave.
Yes, I said she's not coming back.
Yeah, guess who's going to be replacing her in the interim?
Is this going to be Stephen Miller?
Well, apparently 47 and members of his cabinet are allegedly going to be replacing her.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because he's been wanting to do this. But remember what happened during COVID. He liked that COVID style daily press briefing that he did. I said this before that he was going to go to doing that when the war started. And what's he doing? He's going to go to doing that because she's going to be out and he is thirsty for attention. He needs that. Now, I hope that maybe he'll stay awake during the whole time, but I
saw a report yesterday of him falling asleep.
But she's not coming back. I don't think she's coming back.
And to Aisha's point, definitely the thing that happens now is what people don't realize is when you're the president, you don't get a daily opportunity necessarily to speak about things. You're a little more, there's more in front of the scenes in front of you than you are, if that makes any sense. And so that probably has been a little disconcerting for him because he likes attention. And so now, as Aisha said, this gives him the perfect opportunity to get in front of people. But here's the thing, it's going to be very controlled. I can see some more controls that they'll put on the press because he's not going to want to answer anything reasonable or sensible. It will probably be predetermined. There'll be probably predetermined questions. It will be very controlled so that he can, by his own, doing, but also they're doing, because he cannot, and the way he is now at this juncture, he can't do daily press briefings and have it be successful.
No. And they're going to limit the press that is there too.
Exactly.
Well, I thought we wouldn't see any of you two today because I thought you'd be invited to the White House press dinner tonight.
Oh.
And
it's going to be a cluster. You know what? When they have changed the entertainment from a comedian to a mentalist, because this man has no sense of humor. And bottom line, the fact that he's showing up, any media person that's going, I know that some say they're going because that's where they get network. They're going to be able to network and exchange information and stuff. I don't buy it. He is going. Rubbish. His only reason for going there is to sit there and insult them for an hour and a half straight, and them sit and take it.
Well, apparently, at most of the tables, there could be a cabinet minister sitting at each one of the tables. So go figure.
Who needs that kindergarten babysitting? If I were a major a member of the press where I would be invited to the White, first of all, I wouldn't go. I understand. The thing is that everybody wants to have the story and everybody wants to report. So I do understand people are doing their jobs, but is there anything that's really going to happen that we don't already know that is going to happen? So what you report to us is not going to be news.
There you go.
They don't call it nerd prom for a reason. And now the biggest geek in the room is going to be prom king.
Mm.
I hope somebody got a crown and a cape. He'll like that.
Mr. Hurt feelings all the time.
Okay. Well, that's it for, well, I don't know if 47 will come up during our conversation, but hopefully maybe not too much because that's what he wants.
Because there are other things to talk about.
Yeah, there is, and we're going to be chatting about them today. So we're going to go on a break. We'll be back in about 40 seconds.
Toronto, July 25th. The Narrative Power Summit is landing in the 6. This is about ownership.
This is about controlling our story. If you're serious about narrative power, strategy, and ownership, this is the room you need to be in. To get your tickets, go to africandiasporanews.org/Canada. I'll see you in Toronto.
Yes, see.
That looks like such a great event.
Pardon me?
That looks like such a great event.
It's
gonna be. It's gonna be. Like I said, and the least of reasons is I'm hosting it and I'm leading the panel discussion, but other people are coming up, like especially Philip Scott, who powers the ADNC channel on YouTube. And there's about 5 different shows on that platform, and they get about 19 million visitors a month. Wow. And he has built that platform over the last 8 years, and now he's taking it to, he's created his own app and trying to get people to on his own app so they don't have to be controlled by an algorithm on it.
Wow.
So he said, I listened to the other day, and he said if he gets 1% of all the YouTube subscribers to purchase the app monthly, they're good. That's all he's looking for is 1%. That's it.
Wow.
That's it. So definitely check that out if you can. Let's get to some other housekeeping. So first things first, Goro Friends Chat with Aisha Lala and Jill Jones, the Patreon address, the Substack address, and soon in the near future, YouTube address. Primetime Saturday store, the link is there. Discord, link is there. Also, if you want to join it, email me dr.vibe@drvibeshow.com. Also subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel. Hit the notification button. Also like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. To advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms I'm a part of, email me dr.vibe@drvibeshow.com. And now it's Dr. Tachi's turn.
Yes. So IndieSoup Media is an independent network for independent content creators, which I happen to be the founder of. We broadcast Monday through Friday from about 4 o'clock on, and we are on sabbatical right now, but we will be coming back for the summer season in June. So stay tuned for that. You can find us everywhere at IndieSoup Media, and our major platform that you can watch us on is YouTube right now. So check us out there because we're not live right now, but we've got a lot of on-demand programming that you can watch. So check us out.
And the only thing I'll add on to Dr. Tachi, over 28,000 subscribers and a little bit over 2 years of operation, which YouTube subscriber-wise puts IndieSoup Media channel in the top 4% of all YouTube channels. Bam.
It does.
There you go. There you go. All right. So let's start it off. We're going to play a video to introduce our first conversation topic. So let me make sure I've got the right order here, because if I don't, that'd be as they say, a hot mess. Okay, let's do it here. And here we go. Today, we're diving into a story hitting families hard. Senate Republicans just blocked a key Democratic amendment to tackle skyrocketing grocery prices and fix cuts to SNAP benefits. Imagine trying to feed your kids while bills climb. This vote says relief can wait. What happened? Senate Democrats, led by Senjid Ben Ray Lujan from New Mexico, pushed an amendment to create a reserve fund lowering grocery costs and reversing $187 billion in SNAP cuts from last year's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. SNAP helps over 40 million low-income Americans buy food, but Republicans defeated it this week amid debates on spending and priorities. Critics call it prioritizing politics over people facing empty shelves. Why it matters. Grocery prices are still up, hurting Black families and working families across America. These cuts mean less help at the checkout, especially with inflation biting. Republicans argue it's about fiscal responsibility, but Democrats say it's leaving millions hungry. For entrepreneurs and communities we cover, this blocks real relief when every dollar counts. Impacts and call to action. Communities of color feel this deepest SNAP isn't charity, it's survival. What's next? Watch for more fights on farm bills and budgets. Hit the comments. Should grocery relief come first, or is spending the real issue? All right, our first conversation piece. Senate Republicans in the U.S. block grocery cost relief and SNAP fix. Kick it off, Aisha.
Yeah. Well, we should be clear. The largest percentage of people on SNAP are actually white Americans, particularly in the rural areas of this country. And they're the ones who got hit the hardest by the cuts to SNAP. Now, this bill went, and that's why you have these two Senate Republicans, vote with Democrats to vote on this bill. Now, what this bill was to do was to repair, create this reserve account to kind of create that a kind of reparations, if you will, to repair the damages by that big, ugly bill that they passed last year to restore 187 million. I think it's million with the it might be billion.
Yes. It's million. You're right.
Yeah, I believe it was. Yeah, to restore that amount of money to the SNAP fund. Mind you, it was one of the people was Susan Collins, because Maine, if you don't know, I live on this part of the country in New England. Maine is a very rural state, very rural, where people live on streets that don't have street names. They're like routes. Postal routes, okay? And there's a lot of farm country in there. Now, this would have restored not just SNAP, but you have to understand what that does to farmers, U.S. farmers, who are now asking for a bailout because this Iran stuff has them tripping, because fertilizer, they can't get fertilizer. Planting season is almost past, and they can't get fertilizer because where they usually get it? From overseas. And the Strait of Hormuz is closed, and they can't get their fertilizer to do their planting. So they're going to be out some money. Immigrants, the ICE crackdowns, they couldn't harvest last fall. So they were out some money. In SNAP, usually they are able to trade locally on some goods, and SNAP is usually how they get SNAP usually puts a lot of money in, because they usually go to public schools. Public schools do a lot of buying from local farms to feed school kids, to do the school breakfast lunch program. What it was one of the things they cut when they cut these SNAP funds, they cut those services to these public schools where farmers were supplying food products for these meals. So part of why they wanted to restore this was because they were hearing from farmers. But also too, this would have helped the grocery prices for the rest of us. Why? Is it a supply-demand thing? Well, kind of, yeah. Because when you remove that buying power, particularly in rural areas, when they depend on that constituency, they don't decide, oh, well, we'll just lower prices and then people will buy more. No, they don't. They raise the prices on the rest of the constituency, the people, the residents in that area to make up for the lost profits. Remember, that is what they do. That is why your costs have gone up. And once they see that you're willing to pay, they don't go down. So for all of you who were worried and complaining that you voted for this man because you thought he was going to lower your costs of eggs and your cost of milk and your cost of groceries, they had an opportunity this week to vote on a bill that would have done grocery price relief, not just by the SNAP reserve, but it would have impacted the cost of groceries for everybody. And the Republicans said, nah, we good. Y'all keep paying high costs. Only 2 Republicans, 2 Senate Republicans, only 2 voted with Democrats to help lower your costs. 2.
Before I have Dr. Tachi jump in, hello, Regina. Regina says they have money for ICE, but not SNAP. I'm seeing panicked shoppers in the local grocery store. It's sickening. And she also says, hey, Dr. Tachi, so good to see you here.
And not only that, but Donald Trump said out of his own mouth, we don't have money for Medicaid. We don't have money. We can't fix childcare. We need money. We just need to do the military. The same week that they went in to ask for more money. Now, mind you, they're also running out of the Tomahawk weapons. They're about to ask for more money to build more of those that they're using frivolously, according to military operatives, when smaller weapons would do, because Ukraine's using smaller weapons and they're pushing back on Russia. They're about to ask for billions when 187 million would have just lowered their grocery costs. And they said, no, we good.
Gee.
I co-sign on everything Aisha said, 110%. Since she brought up the military, there's something that's also very troubling that's happening with the military. And we're talking about food. Okay, well, it's more important to fund the military. They're not eating either. They're not eating either. This is a major problem. So for looking at that, they are rationing right now because nothing can get to them. So where's the supposed money that you want? Where is it going to go? Not to feed them. I saw one report of somebody that was talking about a service member that the spouse was saying that in this time, the husband has lost like 17 pounds. Mm-hmm. If you are going to do that type of thing, which of course I'm vehemently against, but shouldn't you have proper nutrition to ensure you're making good decisions? But again, that's too much like right. And I'm using my own ruler to measure other people's common sense. I'm sorry. I apologize for that one. So secondly, with this, conservatives and Republicans see poverty as your personal failure. So right. They don't feel beholden to bring you out of something that is your fault. You didn't try hard enough. You should have gone to school. Who told you to have more than one child? Who told you to have any child? So the whole thing is they keep pointing to poverty as an individual failure rather than a systemic one, and therefore don't feel any need to assist in that, which is why it's very easy for them to vote against these things. In addition to being scared of the sleeping giant in the White House. I don't know why, but that's another thing. There's that fear there, but also they simply don't care because they see it as a personal failure. And then third, let's talk about the farmers thing. So much is there, but when we look at it, The farmers aren't eating either. And this is why. People say, oh, they're farmers, they can grow food, but most farmers are commercial farmers and they're growing 1 or 2 crops, not enough to feed themselves. So my dear, they too have to use the grocery stores or whatever, the trading posts, whatever they do in the rural areas to get food. They can't provide everything for themselves. And so the very thing that they need, they voted against. So I'm sorry to say, I don't feel sorry for the conservative farmers who thought that Cheeto Satan was the best choice for this country, as long as it didn't affect them, as long as it was going to affect immigrants, Black people, other people of color, women. They didn't give a damn. But now the chickens have come home to roost, in the words of Malcolm X, and now it's a problem. Now they can't eat either. So I just wanted to put all those things into perspective to add to the wonderfulness that Aisha already said. There wasn't much I could add, but hopefully this was useful.
And, and the thing is that they keep saying you should try harder, work harder while rigging the system, because also this week, one of Trump's sons got a $24.5 million government contract that he didn't earn. What the hell did he do to earn a contract aside from being the offspring?
These people are barely literate, and they keep gleaning all of this.
All of this, making all this money at your.
Yes.
These are your tax dollars. Which
is why it's so infuriating.
Right. Not only that, but the big butt in the Oval Office is negotiating settlements of your tax dollars for being inconvenienced, for being investigated for crimes he actually did commit. Hundreds of millions of dollars of your tax money, while he's spending the rest of it in a war he chose to start, and yet they still would not vote to lower your grocery costs, the things that some of you say you voted on because it couldn't possibly be hate.
And here's the thing. They're going to get paid regardless.
Regardless.
They will still get paid regardless.
Regardless.
You won't. You won't eat. And it puzzles me. But again, this is all by design, and this has been a slow drip for decades. This is not something that just came out. Let's educate the public. No, this has been a slow drip for decades. Right. And it starts, let's just take civics out of the school. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's get them comfortable enough. And then, bam, we'll hit them with it. And so you've got an undereducated public that knows not what to do in these types of cases and is really genuinely confused as to why the tables have turned and why things are not working out for them. They are genuinely confused. And I'm like, you're really confused? This shows how daft you are. And I'm not going to be, I think we have to stop being nice to them because they don't deserve our kindness, our pity, our warmth at all. You're stupid and you voted stupidly.
And they're going to hope that you get tripped up on the SNAP part of it, because that $30 a year that you pay in that goes toward that, they're going to hope you get tripped up on that part and say, well, it's my $30. Well, basically, no. Let me tell you how that works, because most of the people that receive SNAP actually do work. So they're paying into it. So how is it that them paying into it isn't the same as them getting back their $30 that they paid into it, and you paying into it isn't the same as like you pay into the same Social Security? It basically is like paying into Social Security, because we all pay into that in case we happen to fall on hard times and need those services back. Just like Social Security, we all pay into it. We don't see a dime of it right now, right? Until we retire. And then some of us don't see it if we have a pension. Remember those things?
And some of us may never see it.
Get pensions. And if you get a pension, right. And some of us may never see it, because if you get a pension, you can't collect the pension and Social Security. You might be able to collect some of that Social Security back, but you won't collect all of it if you have a pension that will pay more than your Social Security. So that's how that works. And let's be very clear, the average SNAP benefit that people get is like, what, $173? So I promise you, it's not all of your $30.
No.
So
but people will get tripped up on that part of it and not realize that little, yeah, you might get that little, yeah, okay, fine. But realize maybe $130 of what you paid in taxes is going toward a bomb.
All right. If I have permission, just want to catch up on some comments. Regina says Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the basic physiological needs of citizens are not being met. Food, water, shelter, clothing, etc. This will not stand. She also says, as a former social worker, teacher, the impact of these cuts is making my stomach turn. It's violence against we the people.
And that's why the rich are getting very afraid when they hear more and more often people are saying eat the rich, because they're why do you think, here's the thing, why do you think this judge, in looking at these plans, had to put this out, that the bunker, Trump is like really upset about that, about the judge putting out that they had exquisite plans for building a bunker under the ballroom. Keep that in mind.
Regina says, I'm not doing well because people I know have had their SNAP benefits cut by 60%.
Yes. Yeah, they said that in the big bill. They were cutting them by 60%, particularly disabled and particularly elderly.
60%?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So someone in capital letters says they complain about people in poverty while they steal from the entire world. Everything they have is ill-gotten gains.
And let's be clear, they complain about people in poverty, and then they stole from people in poverty. They didn't, and here's the thing, the rich didn't take from other rich people. They took from poor people. They took from destitute people. They took from elderly people who worked minimum wage jobs and saved up just enough to live in poverty in their old age, and took from them.
In fact, they're in cahoots.
Yes.
They're all in cahoots together to steal from the poor. And even though it seems like it's not related, it's all related. You know, I love to point fingers at tech bros and all of this, because here's the thing. When you continue to support the debauchery of the administration with whatever it is you're doing, you too are indirectly guilty of all of this. Because you keep,
so it's funny. They think it's funny.
They think it's hilarious. See, we have more power than we actually think we do. So when it comes to those types of things, the problem is we won't stop patronizing people that are responsible for these things. That's the big problem. I mean, we made it work with Target, but for other things, we think that it's too impossible.
Well, it's actually interesting too, and I'm just being neutral here. Look at what the small country of Iran is doing to America.
Hey,
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Let me tell you something. I want to put this in your mind, because you brought up a very good point, Dr. Tachi. In the tech bros, a lot of these people who have a lot of this money are tech bros. This 1%, the majority of them are. I want you to think about this. Think about this, and think about this good. Because a friend of mine said this to me, and she said this to me and Lala a while ago, and it's very true. You think about all those kids in high school who got picked on the most, and now the tables have turned, and they are trying to inflict the most pain on everybody who picked on them as possible, because they now have all the chips and all the money, and literally the microchips, okay? And they have all the money in these. And she's like, these are the people who never should have gotten that power. First of all, they don't know what to do with it, but they have it. And she said they never really figured out how to move around socially. So they don't have the social skills, but what they have is that fever dream of wait till I can get revenge. I'm smart enough to do it, and I can mass all the wealth, and then I'm going to inflict all the pain. And all I need is a useful idiot to do my bidding.
And boy, do they have the biggest one ever.
Yep.
The biggest one ever.
They just need the biggest. Think about it. And think about it. They needed the biggest jock who could be the biggest bully to be their enforcer.
Absolutely. And may I add this? Let me add this. So when we're talking about bullying, and which is what's happening now in the White House in the Oval Office, we're talking about bullying. All of them. So now Jeff Bezos has taken over the Met Gala, right?
Yep.
Is funding the Met Gala. He's one of those people who was probably very well bullied and like, see, I'll get them all. And this is exactly what he's doing. So now he's taking over one of the largest cultural events. And that's next month, May, the first Monday in May. So that's like next week or week after, whatever that is. And he's taking it over and sent Cheeto an invitation.
Yep. Bezos, Zuckerberg, Musk, all of them are this. They're all that class.
Absolutely.
And here we are, the worst high school experience ever. Worst reverse high school experience ever.
The problem is it has nothing to do with us. So they're trying to get back at the people who were quote unquote mean to them and people like them that were mean to them. But meanwhile, you have people like us who had nothing to do with it, but they view themselves as better than because of who we are. And so, we're going to get them back, but also you people are beneath us, so you don't count anyway. It's a terrible, these are people that have in their mind nothing to lose, which is a terrible position for us to be in.
And you know how we know? Because we sat in high school in classes with these daggone people. Look, here's one thing you got to ask. You ask yourself about smart Black women. Okay? I sat, and like Dr. Tachi, we sat in the highest rung of the classes, right? And then we could also be a cheerleader. I did both. I got to see it from both perspectives. That's how come I know who these people are. And I know what game they're playing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And these are the people.
Oh, go ahead.
These are the people that make you go to, these are the people that make you want to go to HBCU just to get away from them. Just to get away.
I have to say, my HBCU experience was graduate school, so master's and PhD.
So is mine. So is mine.
Okay, yours was too. So, but I exhaled when I got to Howard because not that my experience was super terrible at the PWI I went to, but I couldn't stand it and I didn't want to be there. And I just wanted to be a student rather than a Black student. For the first time when I got to Howard, I could be a student and not a Black student. I exhaled.
Same. I mean, when I got to Fisk, it was like I can't explain to you. It's like it was just and I didn't have to think about the stuff. You know, granted, you walk outside of that area and you're in Tennessee, but in that area there is TSU, Fisk, Meharry Medical College, 3 Black HBCUs, and right down the street on Jefferson Street there's the Nashville branch of the NAACP. John Lewis walked those streets, you know what I mean? It was the most 30 years ago, it was the most freeing time of my existence.
And we could be free of those kind of tech bros that sought to inflict harm across the world.
Right. And I think, I just for a reference, you know what, you just saying that reminded me of, it was something that someone said on an Instagram post when I saw. It's like, that we don't wake up thinking about race and things like that. That experience, especially, it's like, I don't think anyone understands. That is just, you didn't have to think about, even the few white professors that you would have sprinkled in there. It's like, you don't have to think about this. Hell, you don't want to leave campus.
Yeah, it was so freeing. It really was. Sorry, just had to add that.
That's a-okay. I just want to catch up on some comments because there's a myriad of them in here. So someone is saying here, I have literally paid for, quote, moral hackers, unquote, which I consider to be like Robin Hood, to be their karma. Empty out the accounts of all of them and redistribute it. Also, a week ago, my 8-year-old freezer was full of food because I saw this coming, unquote. I cried for the loss of food. The freezer itself is a huge loss for me, the food loss. And they're saying exactly, absolutely.
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Literally, they want us all to die. Agreed.
Yeah.
Also, Regina says, I was trying to organize local merchants to participate in the May Day closings, but they couldn't join because terrorists and COVID crippled them, and employees need money to survive too.
Right. And that's the other part of it too, is that they can't, the local stores are already in crisis because the box chains are trying to edge them out. And then the tariffs, COVID, they're still trying to recover. And remember, when those PPP loans came through that would have been forgiven, a lot of the smaller merchants didn't qualify because you had all those government, members of Congress and government agencies and connections and people. Let's not forget, I didn't forget you, Marjorie Taylor Greene. You can cry all you want now, but let's not forget, you got how many millions in PPP loans for your construction business that were forgiven while you were a member of Congress? People got quite a few members of Congress on the Republican side got PPP loans when these mom and pops couldn't even get them because they didn't make how you got them clear in the legislation that they created that they benefited.
I'm like, how is that okay? How is that okay? I mean, we know theoretically, but how is that okay? Because we look at people like Jasmine Crockett, who, when she was running, she had to close her law firm. You can't have conflicts of interest and things. So how is it that you are eligible for anything and you're a sitting member of Congress?
She put it in her husband's name, her then husband.
Of course, people, the demons among us.
Some more comments here. They are evil because they have the ability to go anywhere and buy everything and they get bored. And look who's in the house. G.R. Houston Jack. Good day, good people. Good to have you here. Regina says the 2026 progressive midterm message. Eat the rich. Yes, we can. I loathe the GOP and centrist Dems at this point. They are all enablers. And then one more comment here. We also pay taxes and they pay none. So before there's more comments,
I hear your point about Dems.
Just give me two quick things. First of all, if you're watching this live or on replay, you see in your top corner, there's a QR code. If you scan that, that will get you to the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube page where you can watch more epic conversations like this. And if you haven't subscribed, what's stopping you? And then I want to do a quick poll here because we are talking about food and the importance of food. I know this may be a pretty obvious poll, but I want to put it up. Why isn't coming up?
Like the obvious sometimes.
Oh, I got to show it. There we go. Prices lately. 1, way up. 2, holding steady. 3, actually down. So if you're watching this live, press 1, 2, or 3. We can do a live interactive poll. Who wants to continue? Because I have a question for both you too, but I know there may be more things you want to share on this. Go ahead, Dr.
Could
Tachi.
I have a clarification on this? When you say prices, are you talking about grocery, gas, or just in general?
Just in general. In general. Vote 1 or 2 or 3. Okay. And most people are saying 1, way up. And it's interesting. Why isn't it registering? But I do see most of you are saying 1, way up. Okay. Anyone else wanting to continue?
I'm dreading going to the gas pump. Listen, and it's not good for the car, I know, but I'm the one that runs on fumes.
That comment about the centrist Democrats.
Okay, let Dr. Tachi go, then Aisha. Dr. Tachi, continue.
Yeah.
I think there's a little delay for her too.
Yes,
so,
there is.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
so
we're having a thunderstorm, so my Wi-Fi is shaking.
Oh yeah, no problem. So I'm dreading going to the gas pump because I'm one of the ones, and it's not good for your car, but I will run it on fumes. So I know exactly when it gets to E, how long I have before I have to get it. And then I don't drive too many far places, but last week I did because we had a lot of events. And so last week I did, and I'm like, oh, the gas is almost gone. And usually I can keep a tank of gas for like a whole month. So now I haven't bought gas in probably about 2 months. So now I'm dreading going to see how much it's going to be. So when I looked, it looked like it was close to $4. I'm not happy.
Some more comments
I
here.
gotta put gas in my car. It's $4.09 today.
So J.R. Houston Jack says all the way up, but prices. And she also said, my husband filled up the truck yesterday and it was $92 SMH. Wow. Well, think about it. It's even more expensive here, family.
Yeah.
It's even more expensive here. All right. I definitely
like I said, right now, when people piss me off, I don't tell them that I wish them anything bad. I just wish that you have to pay more to fill up your car.
May the gas gods punish you.
Right.
So let me ask. This is a conversation of fiscal responsibility versus food security. Where's the line need to be drawn here?
Well, at the tax, I know that people are upset with what Mandami is trying to do in New York City with a city-owned grocery store to drive down costs. But this is where we are right now. This is where we are. People have to be able to afford their groceries. Not only that, but people who are on SNAP, people who are on fixed incomes, which right now is everyone, they need to have their dollars go further. They need to have their groceries go further. I made rigatoni yesterday, right? It cost me $40 for one meal for just literally pasta sauce, ground sausage, ground chicken sausage, peppers, and onions. That's it. Those were the only things I needed yesterday. Three peppers. I didn't even buy green bell peppers. I bought the pack of red, yellow, and orange because one green bell pepper was $4. The pack of the 3 was $4. Everything else I had at home. Huh?
$4?
Yeah. $3.96 for one green bell pepper.
Not that expensive up here, believe me.
Right. And the biggest part, I just happened the ground chicken sausage was on sale, but I spent $40 in change on just those 4 things.
Go ahead, Dr. Tachi.
So you're asking where the line in the sand is for this? Well, definitely what Aisha said about Mamdani, I was going to bring up as well. But here's the news flash. The line in the sand is that we are paying already for this. You know how they say Jesus paid the price? We've already paid for this to our taxes. It's not free. All this money that you have that that you're budgeting, you think it just dropped out of a coconut tree, to use Kamala Harris's word? It did not. We paid for this. It came from us. So since we're paying for it, you have a duty to ensure that things are livable. This is what we pay for. We're paying, otherwise there's no need for us to pay taxes, right? Except throw you a few coins every once in a while so you can fix roads and infrastructure and stuff. But the very point is, we pay for so many separate things locally, statewide, and federally. Why are you not doing it? It boils down to you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So the line in the sand, if you ask me, is we've already paid for this. Give us what we've paid for. But to make people feel bad about these things, that's when you bring up, oh, who's on SNAP, who uses these benefits, the types of people. So you don't want to be connected with that at all. Meanwhile, we've already paid into the system for that, but you don't want to look like a freeloader because they loathe freeloaders. Meanwhile, they're the biggest freeloaders. The line in the sand, I want to be very already paid.
And I want to be very clear too. You complain about that $30 that gets taken out that goes towards SNAP, right? And I said the average benefit, $173. Average, that's most people get around that. Most people get between $100, $300, right? Family of four, maybe. But I want you to keep in mind what your U.S. senators and Congress members make. $174,000 annually. Base. That doesn't include what they get for travel, what they get to staff their offices, what they get for what the speaker gets $220,000 base. Okay, party leaders get $193,000 base. It also doesn't include their benefits. They get a pension if they serve X number of years. Why do you think Marjorie Taylor Greene retired when she did? So she could collect a pension. Okay, they get office expenses and allowances. They get their phones paid for. Okay. So think about those things and guess where that money comes from? Your tax dollars.
Us.
So that little $30 that you pay for that goes towards SNAP, think about how much more of your check that you pay for in taxes goes towards that. And remember that refund that you got, and they're bragging, oh, Americans got more out their refund this year. First of all, that's a one-time thing because that was put in that bill. That's a one-time thing. Yeah, you might have gotten a little bit more, but think about how that didn't go as far. You needed that money because you paid more in groceries and gas.
And the thing is, the whole thing is, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to overtalk you.
No, I'm done. You're good. Not forget again.
The whole thing is bullocks. Because for those of us here, we just did taxes, right? And so when we got whatever little bit back, I'm like, that doesn't bloody cover what I've spent in expenses for what I need to do. That pittance was nothing. So the thing is, there's also a thing of trying to convince people. And again, the people who are aligned with that way of thinking are so grateful and so happy. And they're content. And that's the problem sometimes with contentment, that you settle for anything. So they're happy and they're content with whatever little pittance because they've been socialized to believe where they are is good. And that's all they can ever be. The problem with people like us is we reach for the stars. We think there is more to be had and that we deserve more. In fact, it's that we are deserving of more. And people who don't want to give you more don't like the fact that you know you deserve more. They know that we should deserve more even for the very point that you paid into the system and you paid for it. We all deserve more. But some people are satisfied where they are, and those are the type of people they like. They don't like people who are unsatisfied because those are the people that fight.
Yeah. And here's the sleight of hand that they pulled on us, which was just the worst part. With all these things and the prices and all this stuff that has happened over the last year, and the prices and stuff going up and everything, and then them cutting all the jobs. Let's not forget the Hatchet Act that Elon Musk pulled last year, right? More people actually would have qualified for a lot of this stuff, except that they changed the requirements, which made them ineligible for the very thing that they then created. They created a mess and then made it impossible for the people who would have fell into the pool to get covered.
Go ahead, Dr. Tachi.
Well, I just wanted to ask a question of both you and Aisha, if I may. Is there a way out of this mess? So my thing is, we're talking about this. So now what? Is there a way out of this mess? What the hell do we do? I know you don't live. I know you don't, but you have very good insight into what's happening.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah.
Leave the country.
Well, you know, what I'm gonna say this, and I brought up the example. Look at what Iran is doing to America.
Mm-hmm.
Why, you know, there has the way from, I'm outside of the U.S., but unfortunately, in some ways, you live in a capitalistic economy. The only way it's going to make any impact is it hits them in the pocketbook. That's it.
Well, and here's the thing.
And
the problem.
And I want to add one more thing. One comment here says, I ordered a lot of seeds and potting of my soil. My daughter's coming next week to plant for me. So we have to look inward and also look with those of like minds to move forward, because from what I see, all your president really cares about is the stock market and how prices are. And like, that's all he cares about. So mimic what he does in our own way. But Aisha, go ahead.
But the problem you're going to have is if you need to grow in mass, there's a fertilizer shortage. So, but here's the problem that we have as a country, and that people aren't looking. Everywhere around us is everybody else around us that we usually do business with to keep our country afloat. They're making alternative plans. I need for our viewers to understand this. All of our partners, all of our trading partners, they're making alternative plans. They are planning for a world beyond Trump. They are planning for an existence beyond this war. And what we should not expect is that once they start, they're not coming back, because we have shown that we cannot be trusted. Why? Because we didn't just put this clusterfuck of a man in once, did it twice. And not only that, we let him run 3 times. They do not trust us. They do not trust us. And to the point made earlier about centrist Democrats, they especially don't trust you. And I say this because who would trust a party that would allow people jumping ship from the other party that they were okay with until it didn't suit them to jump into your party and tell you how to run it to make them comfortable and tell you to abandon the blocks, the foundation, the people who always show up. And I mean the Black people, the Black women, the LGBTQ people, because it makes them uncomfortable to make them comfortable so they can run and go back to their party when that MAGA mess is done and you have a mess to deal with, because the people that you isolated that usually do the work are tired of you. Why would they trust a country and a party like that? They're not coming back. They're done with us. They're done.
They're done with us too.
Okay, do I have permission to interrupt? So I'm going to do comments first, and there's a lot of them, and we still got topics to go, family. So I hope you're sticking around. People who are watching this live and on replay. Regina says, "Preach, Dr. Tachi." Another comment here. I know that I was buying Walmart brand bread for 88 cents per loaf in November 2024. Now it is $1.68 per loaf. Another comment here says, "Get rid of SNAP and government as well." Also says, "Ban all taxes equals slavery."
Wait, let me be clear.
Let me go forward. GR Houston Jack says, "Folks have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired." Another comment here on a brighter note. "I'm the only one with a bottle of champagne in the fridge because I know that their end is coming. I do not drink alcohol, do not smoke, do not use drugs. My bottle is waiting." GR Houston Jack responded to that saying, "I keep the champagne in the fridge all the time." Yes, we know you do, GR Houston Jack. Also, Dr. Tachi says, "Hopefully you can pop the cork soon." Another comment here, "Plenty of fertilizer on the floor of Congress. It's full of it." JR Houston Jack says back, or Loranda says, JR Houston Jack, "I'm not a drinker, but when the day comes," and Dr. Tachi says, "Very true." JR Houston Jack is laughing, smiley face at Loriander. He also says, "I'm of the mindset that they know that they cheated and it will all come out." And also says, "Hopefully." And then finally, "Only fix is ban both government parties and restart the whole government."
I get that.
I got it too.
I get it too. And I would agree with that. How? Who? The thing is that we can't even seem to, we can't even seem to agree on who should have citizenship in this country and who should decide. If we're going to do this, we have to go back and put the land and the treaties and the people who it originally belonged to. If we're going to have to do, we have to start from the very, 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 very beginning. And there's going to be some people who are going to have something to say about that. Honestly, to literally do that, we got to start from the very beginning. Because you can't do, because the thing is that you can't do that on stolen land.
Dr. Tachi, last comment, because we got still more stories to talk about.
Yeah. This is the last comment. So I know that people keep, it's Aisha's right. It's the who and the how do you do this? And we have other parties, right? Besides the two-party system that we have. But here's been the problem. Ego.
Money.
Instead of trying to run for things locally, when do we see these third parties crop up? When there is a national election. We don't know who you are except out of this. So if you were really interested in the betterment of the democracy, you would be doing things like running for things in your city government, even your community boards in New York City, for example. Running for mayor, doing things on a local level, and then state, and then so that people can see who you are and get to know who you are. But the problem is you're interested in only the highest things because of ego, the highest offices because of ego. And this is part of the problem. Government exists at all levels, but you think some levels are beneath you. Run for something local so we can see what you do.
I mean, there is an organization called Run for Something, and the majority of the money that they put behind things are usually at these congressional levels and higher ups. There are I'll tell you, Working Families Party does do more down ballot races than some of the others because they start working with unions. But like Dr. T said, that then becomes the problem. I think is that people do not do a lot of low level organizing.
I have a question for both of you guys. Quick one. Is the U.S. becoming one big food desert?
Go ahead, Aisha.
I think she froze.
Oh yeah, she may have frozen.
Yeah.
Okay. I still think it's dependent upon area. Now, incidentally, I had started working on a documentary on food deserts in South Florida. We didn't finish it because we got into some other stuff, and so we never finished it. But the research I did for that was invaluable. And so, as long as you have enough money, never a food desert will touch you. And as long as you live in the right places, I don't think we're at the point yet where it's a massive food desert. Who's going to be hurt worse are the people. Now, a food desert, for those people who don't know, are people where you live in a neighborhood where there is no food outlet for you within 2 square miles. That's a food desert. There are several places like that, and rural places have it even worse, right? So I don't think we're at the point where it's a mass food desert. But the people that are affected now and will continue to be affected by this and even create more food deserts are people in more impoverished areas, because they tend not to put grocery stores, etc. there, and people that live in rural areas. Where I live right now, Publix is the big thing here. I have within like 1 to 2 miles 4 Publixes near me. 4. I'm like, and they're on top of each other. Not to talk of the other places. So I don't have a problem in terms of food desert, but somebody else that lives west of 95, they're probably going to have a little more problem than I would. People that live in more rural areas in Florida, they're going to have a problem. So to answer your question, we're not at the point where this place is a big food desert yet, including people who have always had access. But I don't think we'll get to that point, because people who have had access will always work to ensure that they maintain that access, come hell or high water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything to add, Dr. Tachi?
You mean Aisha?
Aisha, sorry. Aisha.
No, I mean, and like what you said, with the hate crime that happened in Buffalo, one of the issues behind there when they had to close it was that it was in a food desert.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, let's let me do some last comments. We'll move on to another conversation piece. So, comment here saying, I have found the best way to make my point with anyone who wants to justify their ignorance is like saying like-minded people, like-minded people. And the person says also, I've had the dreams of the White House destroyed. Another person says it belongs to whoever conquered it in regards to who owns it. And also the Cherokee Indian says, you don't get to tell anyone who belongs here. J.R. Houston Jack says, I just want citizens to do their civic duty again. Also, Regina says, why didn't the Senate hurl Schumer out as the majority Senate leader when he voted against blocking U.S. weapons sales to Israel? Dr. Tachi says, amen. Another comment here, people in the city have most of the problem. Country folks, we plant our own food.
Well, here's the thing. Not everybody. So I would say, and I was saying this earlier, that when you talk about people that are a lot of the farmers who are farming, they're commercial farming. And so they're not planting necessarily all of their own food. And even if you do plant, there are still some things that you probably will need to get outside of food, provisions and things, which will not be available. But no, absolutely. If you live where you can plant, I 100% agree that you should. But, there's a whole thing here, too. I'm very convinced that they are anti-self-sustenance in this country, because that means you won't buy it from them. So if you remember, maybe you don't, right. And this was even before I moved to Florida, but they had citrus canker here, which was something that was spreading to like citrus trees and stuff. If you notice, like a lot of people used to have orange trees, Not as many people have like orange and citrus trees here in South Florida as they used to, because what they did is they cut all those trees down and then replace them with some nonsense kind of trees. Now, this was before I moved here, but why do you think you didn't need to cut all of them down? That was unnecessary. But you did that because if you produce this for yourself, that means I can't sell it to you for what I want.
Well, one of the things that people used to do from this region of the country, especially in the 80s, used to go down to Florida and get the oranges, they get the sugar cane and get the pecans and come up this way. I haven't seen people go down to Florida just to pick oranges for the longest time.
All right. These last comments.
Most oranges are coming out of California now.
We're going to move on to some other next week, but just last comments here. And audience, keep the comments coming. You are on fire today. Jared Houston Jack says, the area of north of Dallas-Fort Worth area is deemed as a food desert. The food bank stays busy. There were with, I guess the next line says mobile food trucks. I say, okay. Next comment here. I am disabled. I actually live on a farm. The farm is used for commercial use, soybeans, 1 year, corn the next. We're going to plant veggies in pots and on my porch. Next comment here. They are your right. They are right. They hate it when we can take care of ourselves. Also, J.R. Hughes says, I've been living in rural Texas, volunteering. They are not growing their own food. Food insecurity exists in many areas right now. And
they say it's going to get worse in the fall. They're talking about food shortages, not just in the United States, but they're talking about a global food shortage.
Oh yeah. It's worse in Europe.
Yeah.
Europe's a whole other conversation right now. We won't go there.
You know what? I don't know that I feel sorry for you. I'm sorry. God forgive me. But I don't know that I feel that sorry for Europe. A lot of this whole thing is Africa. That I feel sorry for. But you know what? But part of this thing is, again, when everything becomes commercialized. Listen, this is I'm like being African myself and looking at the way they do things. For example, in Nigeria, I'm like, how is it you don't have food and you have all this land? But the thing is, the thing is, the resources and the thought process is, so I can speak about Nigeria and I can speak about Igbo land. Their big crop is yam. The same type of yam that, you guys have in Jamaica, the white one. That's the big thing, cocoa yam. And so they even do a new yam festival to celebrate the harvest. But when you have that mentality, and that's really all you're doing and growing, because traditionally that is something that signified wealth and you haven't come away from that. This means a lot of the other things that you could be growing, you're importing. That's problematic.
Yeah.
We've all become importers rather than providers.
Producers, consumers, not producers.
Consumers rather than producers.
Yes. Consumers and not producers. Yeah. That's part of the problem.
Right.
And this country is bad as well, because the industrial revolution had us providing things and manufacturing things until money got involved and you figured out you could make more by exporting, or what is it called? You know what I'm talking about, when you have something made someplace else. What's the word?
Yeah, importing.
Outsourcing. Outsourcing. Outsourcing that to another country.
Remember, the thing of it is that when they couldn't have slave labor, they started outsourcing. Because remember, tobacco, sugar, rice, and cotton. Cotton is king. Those were the crops being grown in the American South that made this country wealthy on the back of slave labor, and sugar, and that's the sugar cane, and that's why they want to. That's why people think, let's not talk about it, forget about it. That was so long ago. Well, the reason that I want to talk about the reason we outsource because slave labor became outlawed.
Absolutely.
There's a very good, I mean, it's a very clear through line between our labor laws, our outsourcing, and the reasons that they want to get rid of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. If they can get rid of those amendments, people, you want to know why? When the outsourcing will stop, and when the costs will go down, when they can get rid of those amendments. Why? Because they can return to a system of slavery and not paying people, but working people to death for free. Costs will go down, but guess who won't be able to afford them? Because you will not be paid what you're worth. You will, and no, people, you don't want to believe this, but guess what happens? If they strip you of your rights, if they strip you of your citizenship, they might not be able to send you back. That's why they're building these prisons. Who do you think they're going to put in the prisons? The people whose citizenship that they stripped you for. How are they going to pay for them? Oh, you're going to work. You're going to work. There's a reason why the designs of these prisons that they're trying to build in all these places are designed to look like the insides of slave ships. Go look at them, and then go look at them and take a drawing of one and place it over a drawing of a slave ship. They look the same.
All right. I'm going to read the comments. We're going to move on to another conversation topic. We got some final comments here. There is plenty of room here for me to have a garden, but I'm disabled. I can't take care of a full garden. I'm going to use pots and tubs, etc., to plant in. Also, I was actually going to bed early, and you popped up in my feed. Well, we're glad we did.
Thanks for coming.
Please subscribe and continue. We ain't done yet. Also, another person goes, sorry, got to go. Wish I could watch more. Have a great show. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, Adam.
Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yep. And then I stocked up as much as I could. I feel that I may have family here at some point during this mess. I'm a widow and live alone, yet I always try to prepare for the unexpected. We all should.
And that's
also,
what,
look at the dilapidated buildings and towns that should be used producing and manufacturing. Offshoring, a person said you may were thinking about, Dr. Tachi. And another said, here we go. Heaven forbid they actually work for themselves. and
too much like right.
Yeah, and says, we better talk about it. I think another comment's probably saying they want, not they rent slavery back. Probably you said you want slavery back. Also, J.R. Houston Jack says, well, they already rolled back child labor laws. So.
Yes. Arkansas, especially, what is it? And not only did they roll back child labor laws, but check your states. You got states that are also trying to roll back child marriage laws.
And then final comment, anyone and everyone who is lazy ever would be slavery is lazy. Blank. POS. That's what they say. All right.
That's lazy.
We've done that first conversation topic, family. What? And I'm sorry if the vote thing wasn't working. We're going to try it on the next one. For some reason, it wasn't working.
I saw it.
No, but it didn't register. That's the thing.
It showed 100%.
No, see, it's not registering. I know people voted and it didn't register for some. So we'll try it on the next one. Okay. Now it's working.
I saw it at one point it showed way up. Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. Way up. All right. So everyone's saying who voted, it's way up prices. So we done. All right. So after all of that, family, we're gonna go.
Who heard that thunder?
And more comments. They're changing child laws so they can continue to assault them. And OMG, they read my comment. Thank you. Yes, did you hear them? Teen pregnancy is down, and that is a problem.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, audience, you guys are audience.
I grew up in an era. I grew up in an area where teen pregnancy was high. They were able to finally close the high school. We had a high school for teen moms. That's how bad it was. right? They were able to finally close it. And these people are complaining. Actually,
like I
in
said,
the early 2000s, I worked at the South Carolina Campaign to Prevent Teen Pregnancy, mobilizing the faith community on a campaign to address policy. It's insane. That's crazy.
All right. So J.R. Houston Jack says you can't make this stuff up.
No.
They are complaining about teens not having kids. Seriously? And then she says it's all about exploitation. All right.
And let's be very specific. They're complaining about specific teenagers not having kids, white teenagers not having babies.
And here's the thing: when you are a teen mom, or a teen parents, let's just say, you have less options available to you, and it's easier to exploit you the younger you are. And this is not a dig at teenagers that have had children, not at all. But it's to say that statistically you have less options available to you, so you will fall for anything they give you and feel you have no choice, particularly if you don't have a strong family unit around you.
Right. And let's be very clear. They also don't necessarily want these teen moms to be the mothers of these children. They want them to have the babies and go to these centers where they get talked into giving up their children to be adopted.
All right. Last comment says that's why they want them. And then also J.R. Houston Jack says, oh, yes, we know it's not about white women having more babies. And they said, and the next comment, they said it out loud. They prefer ignorant people.
Because
you can always stop being creepy. Incels. Stop being creepy 20, 30-something-year-old incels. Make opportunities so that in jobs and things, so people make housing affordable, so people would want to copulate.
So first of all, I'd say the more I think about this, the more I'm convinced that there has to be something genetically wrong, because people who are normal don't behave. I've never seen normal human beings behave this way. Something is genetically wrong. There has to be, and you can't convince me otherwise. Bring me your genetics screening, because I'm convinced something is wrong.
Well, I'm sorry, but when think about this, okay? Our generation didn't have half the things that they had growing up, but we were able to meet people and date and be normal folks, and they have a hard time meeting people. And my daughter's 20-something, and it is hard to meet people. It's also hard for her to meet people that don't give her the ick.
All right. Stop. Okay. Let's see. Every time you guys make a comment, there's about four to five come in the comment, which is a good thing.
We'll stop.
Okay. So also, they don't want you to be intelligent enough to expose them or to defy them. Teen mom is dependent, and they are quick to take the kids. Did you also hear about the American man who was desperate to get his 3-year-old caught out of ice, but was too late? She was in South Africa and they hit it.
No, she was sexually assaulted and they hit it.
Right. Yeah. I didn't. My bad. Next up, comment here. Yes, and then we have. There has to be something wrong. J.R. Houston Jack says, and the final comment before we now are going to move on to another conversation topic. I think the orange one got dropped on its head at birth. Okay, last comment.
Many times.
All right. So what we're going to do, family, after our exhaustive we're going to give the ladies a quick break. We're going to introduce a new conversation topic, and hopefully, especially live, I hope you don't leave us because you are making the conversation fire today. Let's go to our next conversation topic.
Breaking. A bombshell court filing just backed up explosive claims that FEMA has been run by a secret shadow administrator. We're talking a private contractor calling the shots on disaster relief while the agency lacks a real boss. Stay tuned. This could shake up how emergencies are handled nationwide. Background. Enter Kara Voorhees, DHS contractor turned unofficial FEMA powerhouse. Newly uncovered docs show her bossing around staff on restructures, like demanding headcounts on contractors and firing off memos that scream leadership. But here's the kicker. Federal rules say contractors can't touch inherently governmental stuff, like policy or hiring. Yet depositions paint her as a senior advisor with a FEMA email looped into every big staffing call. Evidence, deep dive. Emails expose her fury over a CNN hit piece about pausing firings in a blizzard proof she's deep in ops. FEMA, HR admits her fuzzy status risks privacy breaches. All this while the agency's administrator seat's been empty since 2025, juggling hurricanes, floods, and fires. No Senate vetting, just a contractor in the shadows. Reactions and stakes. GOP, heavyweights are livid, probing if this dodges accountability. Imagine life or death, aid decisions by someone unconfirmed. Is FEMA's chain of command broken? Taxpayer dollars and storm victims hang in the balance. This filing's a wake-up call for oversight. What do you think, shadow.gov or smart shortcut?
All right, our next conversation piece, court filing backs up FEMA, quote, shadow administrator, unquote, claims. Aisha?
Well, I didn't really want a full conversation on this. I just really wanted to put this on people's radar because I know that we have a lot of people who watch the show who live in disaster areas. We're coming up on hurricane season. I know Dr. Tachi was going to join us. She lives in Florida. We have a lot of viewers from Dallas area, the Midwest, and in California where there's fires, right? And then North Carolina, people are still trying to await FEMA. Well, FEMA has basically been unmanned since the Trump administration has come in, and they said that they basically have pretty much destroyed it. And Kristi Noem came under fire for it, but because the focus had been on her handling of ICE, FEMA didn't get the attention that it deserved. But people were talking about they didn't process claims, particularly with that hurricane that happened in North Carolina last year. And what we now know is that they gave it to an outside contractor without really telling anybody or telling the public. And this outside contractor was actually acting as the leader of FEMA. And this was someone who was basically put through by Corey Lewandowski, who we now know was the supposed lover, if you will, of Kristi Noem at the time, to take care of these things. So basically, this woman, Kara Voorhees, she was in charge of approving disaster aid and signing off on federal contracts and overseeing these personnel decisions and hiring decisions and basically gatekeeping all of the work of the agency chiefs and major decisions that had to go through her, this contractor who also had no security clearance or anything, but had all the decisions had to go through her before they even reached Kristi Noem. And it delayed emergency aid and created all kinds of backlogs and blockages. And but would fast track decisions to specific districts after different political meetings. And so there were a lot of things that were done for political reasons, for Kristi Noem's political allies and Trump's political allies. And so this created a problem. And before we go into this new hurricane season and disaster season over the summer, people need to know that this is going on and that there's already a backlog of issues. It's about to get realer.
Dr. Tachi.
Listen, again, going after the, Lala and
next
Aisha,
time I'll have you go first.
No, it's perfect though. There's like, singing after Patti LaBelle. There's like no need. She hit it right on the head, 100%. It's interesting that Aisha brought up the whole fact that there was a lack of attention to FEMA because of the whole thing with ICE. And it makes me wonder, part of that is part of that on purpose? Is it on purpose that they want? So this administration has been very good at directing the public's attention to where they want it to go. So this is just another way for them to continue to gut agencies while we are focused on something else. And here's the thing: you mentioned a lot of places where listen. North America has the worst weather on earth. This place is full of terrible weather and terrible occurrences. But the South and a lot of red states have lots of terrible weather, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes in places where they didn't used to be because of fracking. So there are a lot of natural disasters that continue to happen. And you all voted for this. This is the interesting thing. So the places, outside of California, but the places where a lot of these things are happening, you all voted for this type of thing. So again, how sorry can I feel for people? Of course, as a human, you don't want people to suffer, but you also realize when people are suffering due to their own actions, your vote put you in this predicament. You did this to yourselves. And I'm saying, as somebody that lives in Florida, now, yes, I live in a blue enclave, but the state itself is red. And Florida is full of hurricanes, and you voted for, okay. So essentially, people are just going to, I can show you better than I can tell you.
Yeah. And that was also part of the reason why I wanted to, it's one thing to cover the stories that take up all the oxygen in the room, and sometimes we can't help but to cover them because some things are so dire. But also, too, we have to look at the things that nobody else is looking at, because they're going to snowball. And I think this thing about the food issue, because there is going to be a food shortage and prices are only going to get higher. But this too, the thing with FEMA, it's not just the disaster relief, but particularly in Florida, if you own a home, people are really struggling to find insurance carriers to cover their homes right now. And not only are they facing the higher costs of living, but insurance costs have more than tripled in some places, or insurers will not cover them because of the disaster relief. And then if you can't get FEMA to offset those costs, you are screwed. Period.
Yeah, that's the thing. In the state of Florida, there are so many. When I first moved here, there were a lot of insurance carriers here. And what happens is, you don't, just like with tornadoes and things, you don't have a disaster that happens every year in the same place. So for us, it's been several years since. Now, in this part of Florida, Southeast Florida, we haven't really had a hurricane in several years. The Gulf side has, but we haven't. So that goes to show you it doesn't happen all the time. But it doesn't matter. One time is enough for these insurance carriers. So we've lost so many insurance carriers. And then what that does is that provides less competition. And now these insurance carriers can essentially charge what they want. Right. When I looked, I was like, damn it, I don't even want to talk about how high my insurance has gone. And it didn't used to be that high, but it's gone up. And so now you have to do play all these reindeer games, like, oh, I have hurricane windows. Oh, I have this. So you're spending more money to bring down the costs of these insurances. And it's actually highway robbery.
Yeah. And it's not just Florida. So you think about the tornado belt, that they're having trouble. All these places that get these massive floods, California with the fires. And you know what? And let's be clear. And then you go up to the upper places, the places that get a lot of heavy snow, because what happens when that snow melts? Flooding. I have to say, New England, we are actually pretty lucky. It's just expensive as hell up here to live, right? We're pretty lucky that the weather, we don't get the kind of weather, but we had that Hurricane Sandy come through that raised prices, and we haven't had a hurricane like that in a long time. But so we're pretty lucky in that respect. But the costs get spread around the country in the media area. You get it, but the cost gets shared throughout. So I need everybody to be aware that this is going to affect everybody. The places that have those warnings, but it's going to affect everybody because we don't know what the weather is going to be like. And I know there are a lot of people who don't believe in climate change, but climate change is real. I used to work for a climate justice organization as their communications director. I know I have seen the actual science, and he has cut a lot of it. He's cut a lot of the resources and the research. And I can tell you there's one project here that was going to do a lot of good in terms of lowering costs. This whole drill baby drill thing. But let me tell you, I know the cost of gas and energy is costing people a lot right now. You all probably wish that we had done the Green New Deal when we had the chance to. But because of those things, disasters are going to be at an all-time high. This man is not going to do anything to fix it. And they do not have the resources to do it. And if they do not get the money that they want for ICE to do what they want ICE to do, they are going to pull it from somewhere, and FEMA's going to be the first place it comes from. So
okay, I'm going to jump in the comments. The audience has been putting out the comments here. So first we got, remember when they wanted to withhold FEMA relief for states that dared to boycott their precious? Yep. Americans, you tired of being occupied yet? J.R. Houston Jack says FEMA is more than broken. Do they even exist right now? Also, we got
apparently they do, but this, like I said, they're not to us, as far as we know, they're not functioning because they don't have an appointed person. They just have this contractor working behind the scenes doing the political bidding.
Next comment. North Carolina here lost everything in 2018 and had to start all over again. FEMA did give me $1,200. I was grateful for every dime. J.R. Houston Jack says, with Cankles shutting down agencies that have helped during natural disasters, the U.S. is in serious trouble. Someone says, J.R. Houston Jack, I personally, they are stealing every dollar our country has. Everything is about to burst open. We will find out that there is nothing left.
One quick comment before you go to the next one. FEMA also, we are in the middle of war. I need people to understand this. FEMA also takes care of disaster relief, natural or in case of a terrorist attack. Because remember, it comes under Department of Homeland Security.
Homeland Security.
I need you to keep that in mind too.
J.R. Houston Jack says, I am convinced that these folks truly hate the United States. Lorianne says, back to J.R. Houston Jack and Lori are going back and forth in a good way. Are they saying, J.R. Houston, they're robbing us and planning to flee? J.R. Houston Jack says, we're in a tornado watch right now. Lorianne says, we haven't had rain here in so long. It's very bad. The entire state is on a burn ban, which I'm glad because it stinks when they burn and I'm terrified of fire. Another comment here. The U.S. government is a behemoth. No one can vote for all level of evil capable of. I believe the Democrats not delivering people pursuing identity politics, but no economic populist policies. J.R. Houston Jack says, I was just typing that, Aisha. They're insurance carriers who have left states due to natural disasters. We also got J.R. Houston Jack saying, didn't they just deny emergency funding for Colorado's floods? It's disgusting what this regime is doing. Another person says, when was the last time prices were lowered?
Never. But I need people to hear what I just said before. We are in the middle of a war. Your president has said he believes there might be a terrorist attack. FEMA falls under Department of Homeland Security. FEMA is what would respond.
Okay.
In that instance.
More comments here. Climate engineering is real and the reason behind climate change. Jerry Houston Jack says, and what's nuts is seeing old movies centered around natural disasters where FEMA comes in to help. Surreal. And look what is...
You know who needed FEMA? You know who would have needed FEMA?
And look,
you know who would have needed FEMA?
Cinema Canella
from the Wizard of Oz.
Good to see you, Cinema Canella. Okay. We're going to move to our next conversation piece. All right. Let's do it. Our next conversation piece. Oh, this is another interesting story. Here we go.
For years, we've been told that the FBI and the Justice Department are the backbone of federal law enforcement. But now those institutions are facing a serious staffing problem. And the big question is this: are they rebuilding fast enough, or are they lowering standards just to fill the gaps? The concern comes from a simple reality. A depleted workforce means fewer experienced people on the job, more pressure on the people who remain, and a growing temptation to speed up hiring. And when agencies like the FBI and DOJ rush to rebuild, people naturally ask whether quality is being sacrificed for quantity. This is not just a numbers issue, it's a trust issue. If the public believes that standards are slipping, then confidence in these institutions can take a hit. And in agencies where judgment, discipline, and credibility matter so much, even the appearance of lowered standards can become a major problem. At the same time, supporters of faster hiring will argue that these agencies cannot afford to stay short-staffed. They'll say the workload is too heavy, the mission is too important, and some flexibility may be necessary to get the right people in place. That's the tension here. How do you rebuild a workforce without weakening the very standards that define it? So the real debate is not whether the FBI and DOJ need help. They clearly do. The question is whether they can rebuild responsibly without turning urgency into compromise. And that's what makes this story so important, because when law enforcement agencies start scrambling, the public deserves to know, are they solving the problem or are they creating a bigger one?
All right, our next conversation piece, FBI and DOJ are scrambling to rebuild their workforce. Are standards being lowered? And also, I'm going to launch another poll right now. So let me do this. Show. So if you had to choose, what's the bigger risk? One, a weak FBI DOJ with too few people. Two, a politicized FBI DOJ with lower standards. Didn't get that all in. And then three, both are equally dangerous. Ladies, start the convo.
Both are equally dangerous. Bottom line is, we wouldn't have the problem with the low workforce if the leadership at both wasn't so severely compromised and politicized. Get rid of Kash Patel. He's not qualified. He's a freaking drunk. And he's not doing the job. It's not just, even if it wasn't the drinking part of it, he is using the tools of the office for personal exploits. Why the hell is your girlfriend there? You aren't married. She doesn't need a 4-person envoy to go with her to her little low-level singing engagements at football games, at level 2 football games. She doesn't need that. Okay? We don't need to be footing the bill at $1 million per day when she does these things. We don't. We're paying for this, people. We don't need to. I don't even know who that heifer is. We don't need to be doing this. Okay? We don't need SWAT teams to come out to escort her friend home from her house. We don't need that. We don't. And we definitely don't need the fact when there's a killer out, you to be taking the plane, chartering the plane that you don't need when you could have taken commercial or some other flight to visit your parents when that plane was needed to stop a killer, a mass killer. But instead, the people had to drive themselves from DC to Rhode Island, 9 hours. Meanwhile, the killer on the loose ended up going and killing someone else. So you cost someone else their life because you are a selfish punk who doesn't know what they're doing. Step aside, Cash App. Step aside and let somebody who has more skill, more intelligence, more competence do the job that needs to be done. Go back to podcasting. And maybe the people who were about the work will come back. Either that, or beg those people to come back and say you'll sit in your office and shut your damn mouth and let them do the job. Same thing at DOJ. Todd Blanche, no amount of you kissing Trump's butt is going to make that. You and Jeanine Pirro doing all these gymnastics, trying to be the AG. Guess what? He's sitting there and loving it. Meanwhile, you're not prosecuting real cases. There are hate crime cases. There are federal drug cases. Nobody knows what's going on with Susanna Guthrie's mother. Y'all just dropped the ball on that. Meanwhile, there are real crimes that are not being prosecuted because you guys are too busy trying to go after Trump's enemies. And this man can't even stay awake long enough to even hear what you're doing. What the heck is going on? Oh, and in the meantime, you're busy, AI generating pictures of women that aren't even real people, saying that Trump saved them from being executed in Iran. They weren't even real. It was AI-generated slop. Goodness gracious, what's going on? Meanwhile, this country is less safe. Who's even seeing if there weren't terrorist attacks? I keep saying this. We got a 250th anniversary coming up July 4th. Do you know? Do you know if anybody is trying to attack us? Because we are in the middle of a hot war right now. Do you know there's a 25th anniversary of 9/11 coming up? Do you know if Al-Qaeda has tried to get the band back together and do its greatest hits on the anniversary? I'm done.
Dr. Tachi, do you want me to read comments before you start?
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. J.R. Houston Jot says they created the problem when they knowingly terminated people who were experts in their field simply because of ethnicity and gender. Another comment here, dude, talking about Kash Patel. Dude always looks like he's in the middle of a surprise pot stating Sam. Oh gosh, that's a classic. That's a classic. Oh gosh, wow, that's a tweetable. Even though I'm not on X, but that's okay. He also says, saying about Kash Patel's girlfriend, if she was that famous, she would have already had her own protection. Another comment here is they can't afford to be wrong and hire the wrong people. Urgency is always the excuse to rush, and the excuse when the real harm inevitably occurs. Stop, look, and listen. They even taught that to these narcissists. Next up, Regina says the video of Patel getting trashed in his office is going viral. By the way, Dr. Vibe, you should post it for comic relief. J.R. Houston Jack plays a laugh emoji to Lorraine's comments. And she also says, Lorraine says, I'm so glad y'all popped up in my feed. Well, as I said, we're glad to have you. Dr. Tachi, go ahead.
all of this was completely avoidable. There's something I say a lot. You had the power to go home all along, Dorothy. They have the red heels. They could have clicked their heels 3 times even before all of this. It came with the vote, right? And now you've got this, but they've had the power to do this all along. They got rid, as G.R. Houston Jack said, they got rid of some people that actually knew what the hell they were doing because of who they were. And now you have this. And what has been happening is this has been a recurrent theme. They get rid of a whole bunch of people. They slash and burn subsistence farming. And then they realize they burned too much land. And now we need to go and get these people back. So it's the same thing when we look at air traffic controllers, how they were considering hiring video gamers to be, because apparently it's the same thing.
Right.
So now we have the same lowering of standards to become an agent. And from the article that you sent, this is what they said in terms of that. So they're considering, they're looking at waiving the requirements of a written assessment and then the interview with the 3-member panel of FBI agents. And what that's supposed to do is measure the life experience and also their judgment, which you need as an FBI agent. So what they said, according to the FBI, is, quote, "We are not lowering standards or removing qualifications in any way. What we are doing is streamlining the process to remove duplicative bureaucratic steps to the application system for onboard employees. These changes are based on a wide variety of feedback from successful agents with over 20 years experience." Can anybody tell me what that means? It's doublespeak and it's nonsense.
It means they're lowering standards. You know what? It's so funny to me because weren't they the same people that said, you know, that they thought they considered DEI lowering standards, but that is the exact same thing that they're doing to hire more white people into these positions.
Yeah.
That is literally what they're doing. And so I have to just say, I have to bring in my same example from last week. Remember the beginning scene from There's Something About Mary when he gets his parts caught in the zipper and he keeps trying to get it out. And this is literally where we are in this country. And instead of just, you know, letting somebody just cut the zipper open, just keep that's all, and just ripping skin and flesh, and pretty soon the whole country is going to be a shredded member.
Wow. That's quite an wow. Let me catch up with some comments here. So J.R. Houston Jack says, this is why we need more communities, why more communities need neighborhood gardens. I used to volunteer at one in Houston, and we took fresh veggies home after volunteering. Community is the future. We cannot do this alone. Regina says, right.
We have to be our own community FBI too.
She said, red, orange, and yellow peppers are better for you. They're riper and higher in antioxidants. And okay, we got the foods thing still going on. Also, another one here. Our new friend, Lorianne, says, everyone they put in position is disposable.
Yeah.
and the
and
line
also everyone they put in this position, what kills me, everyone they put in the position is not qualified. While they were trash talking every high level Black, brown, female, LGBTQ person who was 10 times more qualified. Every lower, I mean, these people aren't even mediocre at this point. They're fucking losers.
Oh boy.
If I may, so yes, I say this all the time. I say this all the time. The fact that you have qualified people around you when you are sub-mediocre calls out your sub-mediocrity. So we have to get rid of the litmus test. Besides the fact that we don't like you for who you are making us look bad. So we have to get rid of that. And and I just sit there and I'm like, so you created people who had to be 75 times better because you put impossible roadblocks in the way, which we just left over. And now you're upset that you created a super race of people that do better because of the roadblocks that you put in the way. I mean, and this is how I know they don't think. Whenever you put, the way we grow is through adversity. Nobody always wants adversity, but you grow through adversity, you grow through challenges. So that's exactly why we are, because we've grown through the adversity and the challenges and the roadblocks that are put in the way. You have to sit there and think outside of the box and figure out, now, how am I going to do this if I don't have X? However, when everything is given to you and the system is made specifically for you and you don't have to try, you don't experience any growth, which is why those smooth brains are where they are.
Yeah. Look, things are, this should tell you how bad things are. Things are so bad that over at Department of Health and Human Services, they had to relent and put a very qualified Black woman over there.
Yes.
Things are so bad and out of control with the health piece, particularly with the the epidemic, with the measles and stuff getting out of control, and RFK Jr.
Oh, so we could spend an hour on that testimony.
They had to relent.
Oh,
they went back and pulled in someone who was deputy during his first administration.
Oh boy.
She'd also done work in the Biden and Obama administrations and the first George W. Bush administration. They had to pull her back and say, please come.
See, I love this for her, but I also hate this for her, because that's also an excuse if anything goes wrong to blame her.
Right.
And that's what I don't like.
Right. I don't like that. But the thing is that we know and we hope, but we know she knows, because we know she knows going into this. Clear-eyed. She does. But the thing of it is that that's how you know things are that bad.
Yeah. You got to call the Blacks back in. You know it's bad.
To clean up
permission to update on comments, because we talked about FEMA. I think we need FEMA to rescue to come in here. This is crazy.
You know who else needed FEMA?
There's nobody at the helm.
Going back to your reference about Dorothy, you know who else needed FEMA? Dorothy. Tornado.
Tore her house up. Okay. Whoa. I'm getting a workout today with comments. Let's go back again. The line of the day: surprise prostate exam is still lingering in the comments section. Oh my gosh. Okay. Another comment here says, me too. I'm glad. That person's glad they tuned in today. Well, subscribe. Lorianne Orr says, spite and revenge. J.R. Houston Jack says, laugh emojis. Also here, Kaiko says, we need to do something better than canceling, rejection, refuse. Their narratives, their lies, and of anyone who repeats it back to us, we disengage. We're wasting our time off. We can't start at the same place. Lorianne says, indeed, we'll never be again the USA. J.R. Houston Jack says, not the zipper scene. and Lorianne says, I think, Jesus, I think they put them in position knowing they will fail and they will have to have the replacement planned. Another comment here, we can't even get to mediocre no more.
And I think they're putting her in this place because I have a feeling that I have a feeling there's another pandemic on the way, and this man knows it. Because remember, he's not going to get Dr. Fauci back.
J.R. Houston says for sure to Lorianne Orr. Lorianne Orr says they are all pathetically weak and insecure and desperate for attention and relevance. J.R. Houston Jack says the storm makes you stronger. Also, he says smooth brains with a laugh emojis.
Listen,
I guess Lorianne has a nickname, I guess, for Mr. Kennedy, worm brain toilet snorter. And, and then finally, the Department of Health said that Americans' number one issue is also anti-Semitism. If they address their anti-Black racism, they would be healed. And then J.R. Houston Jack says, same thing done in the NFL. A team sucks, they hire a Black coach. The team gets better, then they fire the Black coach. Hold on, more. There's still more comments. Sorry to Lorianne says, me too. They're planning it. Yep. And so just trying to give you okay. So we'll leave it at that. Any more comments?
Let me say this.
We got one more story.
Dr. Vibe. We do?
Yes, we do.
Oh, then I relinquish my time.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. The next topic's quick.
Okay, well, I just wanted to say thank you to you, Dr. Vibe, for providing a space where people can talk about these things. I think people are very, and this space has been here for a long time, but I think people are so frustrated and they don't have an outlet. So it's important to have independent media like you that provides an outlet for people.
And you're independent media. All three of us are independent media in our own way. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Regina says 47 keeps putting off his meeting with Xi Jinping. If he goes through with the May 14th meeting, I predict it is the only way to end the war. Crypto bribes will win over Netanyahu. Lorianne says agreed. Says absolutely, I agree. It's our platform. And then Kaiko says yes, all three of you. Well, there is another one too. And then Lorianne says thank you, lovely ladies as well. All right. We do have one more conversation.
We have to do something for the 10-year anniversary in the fall.
Yeah, we got. I don't want to hear because they've been doing this long, but that don't make me start.
Don't be like me.
Well,
I forgot.
It's next year.
It's my 10 year.
Next year. Okay, next year. All right.
Mine was last year, and I forgot. So don't be like me. Make sure you play.
Hey, Dr. Tachi is also again on this Friday on the Morning Vibe, 9 a.m. Eastern time. By the way, thank you.
Yeah,
all right,
it's this Friday.
That's right, this Friday. Okay, last video for our last conversation piece. Here we go.
Hey everybody! Today we're looking at the Spirit Rescue deal and why it's raising bigger questions far beyond one airline. Spirit Airlines has been under serious financial pressure, and now this rescue conversation is stirring up concerns about government involvement in business. On the surface, the argument sounds simple: save the company, protect jobs, keep flights moving, and avoid another major disruption for travelers. But underneath that, there's a deeper issue that a lot of people are now asking: how much should the government step in when a private business is in trouble? For supporters of the rescue, the answer is pretty straightforward. They would say that when a company is this important to workers, customers, and the wider economy, some kind of intervention may be necessary. They'd argue that letting a major airline collapse could create chaos, hurt employees, and damage confidence in the market. But critics see something very different. They worry that once the government starts rescuing private companies, it opens the door to more control, more influence, and less independence for the business sector. And that's where the alarm bells start ringing. Because if one struggling company gets this kind of treatment, people begin to ask, what happens next? Which industries get saved? Who decides? And what does that mean for competition and fairness? This is why the Spirit story is about more than aviation. It's about the balance between public interest and private enterprise. It's about whether rescue becomes overreach, and it's about who really holds the power when business and government start getting too close. So the question is this a necessary rescue to protect the public, or the beginning of a much bigger shift in the role of government in business?
All right, so our final story is Spirit Airlines rescue deal fuels fears of government and business. Before we get to it, I just want to show the results of our last poll. I didn't get a chance to show it. So we had a question: if you had to choose what's the bigger risk, a weak FBI DOJ with too few people, politicized FBI DOJ with lower standards, and then finally, both are equally dangerous. Everyone who voted said both are equally dangerous. All right. So what we're going to do is we have one more conversation piece. Actually, we have a poll. What else is new? So the poll is, should the government bail out Spirit Airlines? And also the ladies are going to comment. So let's go for it. Who wants to start?
Can I say something really quick?
Go for it.
Because I love for Aisha to start. Spirit Airlines is the Temu of the sky. And this is the best that you can do. Go ahead, Aisha.
Well, our government is the Temu of governments right now. So
you're right
about fit, right? So, I mean, here's the thing. I'm glad that there are jobs that are being saved. Cool. However, here's the problem that I have with it, right? The government, if it starts this, the rest of the airlines are going to start asking to be saved. This will now be how many bailouts have we done for airlines, but we're still not bailing out American citizens who are asking, we're struggling, bail us out, right? And he has toyed with giving people bailouts, but people haven't seen that. What happened to those $5,000 checks that him and Elon Musk said they were going to give Americans, but haven't given Americans? But not only that, we're talking about he has used taxpayer dollars to invest money in these private companies: Trilogy Metals, MP Materials, Intel Corp, Lithium American Corp, and U.S. Steel Corp, and then some other involvements like Westinghouse, NVIDIA, and AMD. Here's what I want to know in Spirit. If you're investing U.S. tax dollars in that, when do taxpayers see return on their investment? Because I have a feeling that when those returns come in, he's going to pocket those himself. He used your tax dollars to invest in these companies, and he's going to keep the returns. Because he's only going to be in office another 2 years, 2.5 years. Is he taking those with him when he goes? Where are the details of these investments and who signed off on them? Because to me, that should have been something that Congress would sign off on. Because remember, Congress has the power of the purse. The House of Representatives, that should have been something that was taken up by a vote, not executive order. Who made that decision? That's not an executive decision, because whenever it comes to the spending of the U.S. tax dollars, that comes through the House of Representatives. So I hope that when Democrats do take over the House of Representatives next year, that's one of the things that they go to find out. Because I'm going to need them to run me my check when they get some returns on these investments.
Let me go to comments then to Dr. Tachi. So we have some comments here. Lorianne Orr says, OMG, the new Lolita Airlines. You may need to come on and join us, because you're fire. All right. She also says they do nothing for anyone other than themselves ever. J.R. Houston Jack says, I am so over these businesses not taking care of their business. They wouldn't be in this boat if they stopped overcharging customers and overpaying executives. Mm-hmm. Lorianne Orr says it would become Frankenberry's new toy.
Mm-hmm.
Casey Joe says,
but we need to be asking, run us our checks.
Okay. Casey says, where the bailout for the American people? They just denied grocery relief. Also, Jerry Houston says, you know it, a con man will stay on his con at all times. And Loriana says they already robbing everything. Well, we got more comments. We got Casey Kaiko says, yes, that's a good effing question. Who's getting the dividends? Also, Keiko says, where the people cut, I've always said, why doesn't the government see how they are all invested in the stock market? Why do they get people invested in the market too to benefit directly? And Loriano says he will be absolutely not there for 2 years. Okay, Dr. Tachi, go for it.
See, I this is the thing. I love how idealistic we all are when I look at comments online on social media and people saying the things that should happen. I love it. On paper, it works. But when you're dealing with maniacal fools, it doesn't work. But I love the fact that we still have the ideas that this is the way it should work. And hopefully there's the hope that it can get back to that. So I just have to say, I love that. We need to know that this is the way things it should not. We're all experiencing cognitive dissonance because this is not the way this system was designed to work. That said, they're all saying system be damned. So it doesn't matter what Congress says, what the House of Representatives says, because he does what he likes regardless. So we have a system in place. It's just not being followed. That's the problem. And the other thing is, no disrespect to Spirit Airlines, but the fact that you're in trouble when you single-handedly set out to be the lowest cost Temu carrier you could be, while still charging, you might charge $10 for a seat, but then you charge $75 for air, $205 for space to put you nickel and dime everyone, just as Gwendolyn was saying, you nickel and dime everything. So you're getting your money on the back end somehow. So the fact that you are not doing, and this is aside from fuel, this is aside from the fuel thing now, you were already not doing that well. That's your own fault. So it sets a terrible precedent that we have to bail out people who are failures because of their own doing. When we had the it's not the first time that there's been government bailouts for things. All we have to do is look at under Obama, there was the bailout for GM. That's a different case though. GM fundamentally affected far more people and far more of the market that if that did not happen, it would have meant it would have been a major problem for the country, not just Michigan. Spirit is a much smaller case. So now, are we going to bail out grocery stores? Are we going to bail? What else is next after this? So I think it sets a terrible precedent to bail out companies who, of their own doing, put themselves in this position.
Well, the other part too, it makes you wonder if he did this as a business deal, because remember, JetBlue offered to buy Spirit.
They did offer to buy Spirit.
And he would not approve that merger. He would not approve that merger.
Yeah, because apparently it's a problem. Two low cost air carriers coming together is somehow a monopoly, but it's not a problem for you to do this. And I've also heard that they would try to also use Spirit for official things like
deportation flights. That's the other thing that they're thinking.
Deportation, exactly.
Because remember, Avello is backing down on doing deportation flights because a lot of cities like mine that have said that, oh, you broke your contract with us, so we're not going to be using you after this period of time. Goodbye.
Exactly.
More comments here. Lorraine Orr, who is driving it today, saying he is taking everything and giving it to his puppet masters. Jared Houston Tech says, great show today, y'all. If you had to leave, good that you were here. Lorraine also says, ignorance is a lack of knowledge. Stupidity is a choice, and foolishness is a chosen lifestyle. They choose their lifestyle.
I love that.
I like that.
I love that.
Lorraine also says,
hold on, leave that. I gotta get a screenshot of that. Hold on.
Yeah, me too.
Aisha, don't do that often. Aisha, do not do that often, Lorraine. So you are on fire.
I got that screenshot too.
Okay.
Me too. I got that.
Okay. Lorraine also says, remember, y'all, he
Look, I'm gonna put that on a poster and put that up.
Okay.
Exactly. He bankrupts casinos.
Yeah, that's
Look,
what,
Atlantic
Lorraine,
City still hasn't forgiven him.
Lorraine, you were reading my alleged mind. This is just 4745's pattern. Bankrupt, someone gives me the money I lost. Regina says, since when has the 47 administration had a problem with monopolies?
Never.
JR Houston says, I can't with these people. Lorraine also says, Spirit better say no thank you. Everything he touches falls apart. Lorraine also has the fire emoji.
He couldn't even win at his own board game.
Keiko says, racism is a mental illness people choose. I want to ask you.
I don't think racism is a mental illness. And the reason I say that is because if you say that, they'll put it in the DSM and then people will use it to get out of a lot of things. Racism, I think, is a choice.
So I have to ask you both. If the investment happens, you're saying the American people will never see an ROI. I've got a better one for you. All these companies getting money back from the tariffs. Are American people going to get any money back?
No.
There are a few companies that are trying to make are going to make an attempt. Very few. I think it was like Costco or something that was going to try and figure out a way to do it, but the rest of them have already decided no.
But I just say the American people who were hit the hardest, not getting a thing. Lorraine says it's a choice, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and she says no, and think the companies knew of this tariffs. It was a plan to raise prices.
Wait.
Yeah,
not only that, they're going to get their money back and they're going to raise prices.
Yep.
Exactly. It's going to be like, I've gone to, some events that they had to raise prices because of a pandemic or whatever. They're not coming back down. They're going to stay there. So, this whole thing it's a terrible thing to say, but we just have to get used to the fact that prices are going to be elevated. They're not coming back down, but the people who will weather the storm are the ones who find the way to keep prices reasonable because they don't need to necessarily make as much, if that makes any sense. Those are the people that will weather the storm.
And I'll tell you something else, and this is the saddest part of it. Not only are they going to keep raising prices, they're going to keep doing it because they're betting on your poverty. Think about that.
Because
they are betting on raising prices. They are remember this. They had this one guy that got to be the fall guy for betting on the Maduro thing.
That's what I was going to say.
I don't want to go there right now.
Because he was a part of it. He's the fall guy, but the real people betting big money are like, ooh.
That's a whole, Aisha, that's a whole other segment.
Are the prices going to go up on groceries next
I'm
week?
sure.
They're betting on this stuff too. We just don't see it and hear about it because it's so common. But they're betting on gas prices going up. They're betting on the cost of groceries going up. They're betting, is the cost of egg going to go up? Is the cost of milk going to go up? How long they're betting on everything.
Everything's
up. They're betting on everything. They're betting on your failure. They're betting on your pain.
But this was even before him.
Wait.
This was even before him.
Yes, but they're betting on it now. And then these are the same people who can't figure out why women don't want to date them and reproduce with them.
I'll take the bear for 300, Alex.
I'll take the never again. Look, you could not pay me to be young and having to date these people again. Ugh.
Okay, let's get the last comments here. And we're going to get off now. So Lorraine says, right, it was planned just like COVID. And I think these tariffs, and there's something else coming.
And that's the thing that they missed. See, that's the one thing that they learned from COVID, how to profit from it this time.
Kaiko says, and that's why we boycott. You think you're going to milk me and continue to exploit us all? Lorraine also says, I am also a firm believer. When you do wrong to others, your karma will come. And until you do right by them, everything you touch will go too.
Color purple. Color purple.
Look, Elon Musk is decomposing right in front of our eyes.
And there's an earlier comment here by Kaiko says, okay, not a mental illness, a disease like addiction. But then Regina responds, not a mental illness, but cultural brainwashing for sure. The media also complicit with selective coverage or non-coverage of issues in the Black community. They fuel stereotypes. And Lorraine says they sent Martha Stewart to prison for doing exactly what they do every day.
But meanwhile, Martha Stewart is charging $97 for a baked potato at Foxwoods Casino.
Did you see that rubbish?
Are you
Did you see that rubbish? No, it's $97
for a baked potato at Foxwoods Casino.
Because it has caviar on it.
People here know better. I'm gonna tell you something. Anybody stupid enough to buy a baked potato at the casino, you're dumb. You're dumb. I don't go to Foxwoods all the time, but when I go to Foxwoods, one thing you know about the casino is you don't eat there.
No, you never eat at a casino. The price is so ridiculous.
And the food is substandard.
And if you're really smart, you buy the bingo ticket because they give you free food with the bingo ticket. Come on.
There you go.
Smart.
Lorraine says, y'all would hate me because I do not believe in brainwashing choices. And
also,
Lorraine goes, amen. She goes, amen. If you're dumb enough to pay that,
pizza, don't get it at the casino.
She goes, amen. If you're dumb enough to do that, ... And Regina says, you are correct, Regina, with this. I think this is the longest show you've ever attended. It is the longest show we've ever done.
I know. It's the longest show I've ever attended.
But you know why? Because A, Aisha and Dr. Tachi want to give their own. B, the audience has been outstanding.
And we're not having a show next week, so yeah.
And then also Kaiko says they're also coming for overpriced Black or Caribbean restaurants.
Excuse me, why is the thing of oxtails like $40?
Oh, it's crazy here too. You need to ask that. Come on a Monday or Friday morning. My co-host Ryan Knight, he's a big oxtail aficionado. He makes oxtail, but it is expensive.
The thing is, it's the gentrification of culture. Before, all the things that were throwaways, that people of color ate, that people from other communities ate, that was not something until it became cool to be associated with it. And now the price goes up because on the Upper East Side, it's a thing to eat oxtail, et cetera, et cetera.
And a plantain should not be $3. I'm sorry.
Listen, see, that's why I buy my plantain from Aldi. So, or some of the like Caribbean shops or whatever, that's where you buy it from. But, things like that, chicken wings, which were the throwaways, if you get an order of chicken wings, it's so expensive now. So it's the gentrification of culture that is doing all of this. And the original creators of the way it tasted good now can't even afford the things that were thrown at them before. It's actually quite disgusting.
And if you're gonna do it, please, don't make, and you do it to waste it, to make content videos of it looking disgusting.
More comments from the audience. Lorraine has fire and celebration emojis and hearts. Lorraine also says, for real. Lorraine says, smoked ham hock, $7 a pound. Wow.
My God, today.
Regina says, bingo, Dr. Tachi, shake my head. Kaiko says, yes, I'll be here next show, please. Deep dive. We'll be here. Cinema Canella says, Aldi rules. Aldi rules.
I love Aldi.
Regina says, Aldi is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Get them to sponsor us. Come on. We're shouting them out here. All right. No, I think, as I say with this in regards to food price world, the prices didn't come back pre-pandemic after the pandemic, did they?
No, because they saw people would pay them. Like, oh, let's just keep it here. Let's see if we can go higher.
And the whole thing about government and business, it's a slippery slope, but you better believe that 45 is getting his cut.
Of course. And may the ancestors punish all of them.
Not only is he getting his cut, he's getting payouts. He's getting settlements. He is getting settlement checks. He is the biggest welfare recipient in this country.
Ouch.
I mean, that man's staying on welfare.
Can I say
talk about
thing?
A welfare king? Oh my God! He stays on government assistance.
The original welfare king. If I could say one thing, and it left me that quickly. It was good. I was thinking, I got distracted by something in the corner, and then I forgot. But it was related to it will come back to me. It was related in a roundabout way to this.
Okay.
Go on.
Kaiko says
he stays with his handout. This man takes handouts wherever he can, and then he turns around and pisses on everyone else who works hard and just wants a little bit of breathing room. This man does no work. This man is taking more vacations, days off, executive time. Dude, you run the biggest corporation. You run a country. That is the biggest corporation in the country. And
I remember what I was going to say.
Oh, good. I was stalling for time. Go ahead.
So a lot of these types of things could cause people to reevaluate whether or not they want to stay in this country, and rightfully so. There's so many people, there's so many conversations online about emigrating someplace else, expat life, etc., etc. And that's all well and good and fine. You should really be free to be where you want. But I will say this, until you unpack the trauma that has been associated with all of this, you're going to have a hard time. All you do is go to someplace else and you have trauma with a view. So whatever the problems are here, being in this administration, this is a traumatic experience for everyone. But you cannot, it's not fair to take that and try and unpack it and dump it on the local someplace else. So I would say, if this is something that you're looking to do the work to make sure that you're handling whatever trauma you have that is associated with life here and not taking it over there. Yeah. So it's related to what we were talking about, but also a tangent. I digress.
And understand that this administration right now is causing trauma throughout the world.
The world.
Think about what we just did to our neighbors to the north.
Well, hey, I'm in Canada. Our prime minister basically said, we can't trust the U.S. anymore. We're going to do our own path. Coming back to something you said earlier on, Aisha, about the food desserts and this and that. Pop quiz. And when you were talking about FEMA, what country produces 80% of the solar energy panels in the world?
China.
Good. Next question. What country produces 60%, and it's growing every day, of all EVs in the world?
China. And China just produced a battery now that will go, was it 1,500?
Yeah.
kilometers. It's about 980 miles on a 6-minute charge.
So your federal government is turning away from renewable energy resources and all this. And look who's just sitting in the corner, just rubbing their hands together.
Because of the oil lobby. If there's no money in it for them, they don't do anything for the good of the people. Let's get that clear. Whatever they say, it's never that. It's never for our collective good. It's to make money. So if there's a lobby that can go against electronic vehicles, which the oil lobby does, that's what they do. And what happens? You have terrible infrastructure. You don't have good transportation, etc. All because of this one lobby wanting to put the money in the pockets of very few.
And that's why the U.S. has a ban on Chinese cars.
Well, your president was upset that our prime minister said, BYD, within the next year, you can bring in 40,000 EVs into.
Listen, and BYD, my sister has test driven those in Asia. Those are beasts of a car. That's the electronic vehicle that you want.
So be careful.
They're also not expensive.
That's right.
Not at all.
Right. And so Spirit may be in line of many American companies wanting their hand out because the world is changing. And I am concerned for Americans because the world's just going to go without them.
A 6-minute charge, people.
Oh, speaking of which, I was listening to a story on NPR the other day. They had their reporter in China. He was in an EV. What is one of the biggest challenges people have with an electric vehicle?
The size of the battery.
Infrastructure. There's not enough chargers.
That's one of the things. But if you go on a long trip,
the length of time, recharging stations are enough recharging stations.
Well, China's already in the game because this reporter was in an EV car. They stopped. There was some contraption that goes underneath the car.
Changes it out.
Battery, replaces the battery. You're gone.
Exactly.
Well,
and so they're just
The other thing they said that they're trying to come up with now, you know how you have with your car battery that they have the automatic battery charger that you can have to kind of spare. They're developing that technology right now where you can have you can buy the battery charger, the portable battery charger to carry in your car.
Right. We're done. We're done. We're done. Well, this show's done. Who knows how much? Last comments. Kaiko says $7 a pound is almost more than minimum wage. Lorraine says I pray for him every day. I won't say what I'm praying. I'm just praying. There's another screenshot. Oh gosh. Regina says my fantasy is that 47 family assets are seized and distributed to the people, to we the people. Lorraine also says the generational draft dodging German pimp. And she also goes, and the fools, that liar bragging about how rich he is and in the same breath beg for their money and they throw it at him. Hi, Caucus, Canadian here. Our PM said it's over. He did say America, we're just going a different direction. And then Lorraine said the spider to the fly. Okay.
It's been time for that, in my opinion.
All right. Also, okay. 3 more comments, Sammy. We're done. 2 more. Lorraine says he will complain about China as he waits for his Timo sneakers and watches.
He'll only complain so much because that bill will come due.
And Lorraine goes, final comment. Lorraine says, Regina, I believe in your dream. Okay, family, that's it. This has been epic. All right. We're going to finish off with the poll about showing, they bail out Spirit? Okay. 60% say no, let the market decide. And then 40% say only if private buyers fail. Interesting. Will be a story to watch. All right. I think we are done. All right. That's show, resume, stop. Okay, let's do this. And people are still, okay, of course, some of the stars of the day. Lorraine says, thank you all. And Kaiko says, love you all. Thanks so much. Thank you right back. Thank you right back. That has been an epic conversation. All right. As we call it a conversation, and these ladies think they deserve some rest. You worked them today. You really worked them today. So before we let them go and say, we're going to get to contact information. So let me, do I still have a finger left after all this? All right, there we go. First up, Dr. Tachi.
So you can right there go to my link tree. As you can see, all of my contact is there. You can follow me for my show Media Scope, and also my network, IndieSoup, or our network, IndieSoup Media, the independent network for independent content creators. It's all there. And I'd love to hear from you.
Thank you. And thank you for making yourself available today. Good stuff. Next up, Aisha K. Staggers.
You can find me at AK Staggers on Medium, Aisha K. Staggers on, AK Staggers Instagram, Aisha K. Staggers Medium, AK Staggers Blue Sky, and yeah. And mostly on Discord.
There we go. Discord group. All right. Fantastic. Good to see you as always, Aisha. All right. Let's do some things here. Let me do that and that. All right. For me, best way to touch base with me, taplink.cc/the_VIBESHOW.com. And another member of our family, Laura Lala Key. You can get a hold of her at laurakey.net. Also her Etsy store, etsy.com/shop/living the Lala life. And then you can go to our Buy Me a Coffee page at buymeacoffee.com/rebirth of Lala. And also you can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show. Facebook, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, the Dr. Vibe Show website, the drvibeshow.com. Wow. Epic. But there were some more comments. Let's do. Jen says, great show. Fan number 1, Jen Meyer says, great show. Regina says, bye, love and thanks. Right back at you, Regina. Lorraine says, wait. What do you mean? Wait. Aisha, are you on? No, she isn't on Medium. She's on Medium. She's on Medium. Medium is a writer's site. And then Kai says, hey, a link tree, Aisha. Oh, they wanted to make sure if you have a link tree, Aisha. And then also, he's also saying, get a link tree, Aisha. Yes, get everything in one link. That would be fantastic. All right. And Lorraine goes, okay. All right. That's it, family. This has been the longest primetime Saturday ever outside of, the primetime Saturday. Yes, it has been. Not the longest show I've hosted and produced, though. Not that. But I want to say thank you, everyone, so much. And as always, we close it out with this. And also, if you haven't subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm speaking that Kai Ko and Lorraine Orr, you have subscribed. And let's interact on that page. I said this. Lorraine Orr says, it's been fabulous. Thank you so much. Hope it's first time. Hopefully it's not the last time. Okay, let's finish it off here. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions, aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider, love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both. And as always, make it better. Let's see what else is going to say. Lorraine says, I'll be back. Thank you. Won't call you Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're going to be back. All right. So God bless. Peace, all. Walk good. Keep the faith. Remember, be safe. All right. Take care.